Hi, everyone. Welcome to our Essentially Natural webinar today, Cooking with Essential Oils. Some of you may be veterans and some of you may be brand new to oils. This is going to be recorded and made available, so please feel free to share this webinar and pass along to anyone you think would be interested and enjoy this information. My name is Kate Lassen, and I've been using essential oils for a little over 4 years now. I have two little toddlers at home and lead a busy, active life. I have loved and love all the ways I've been able to shift my lifestyle, getting greener and healthier, incorporating oils to my health, cooking, cleaning, and personal care. I'm so excited to be with you today and to share some really, really fun ideas. I know I've had a lot of fun finding some recipes and I'm excited to share with you. So my intention is to tell you a little bit about the amazing essential oils that we use, doTERRA, and why these are safe to use internally, which of course includes being able to cook with them. I'll share some basic cooking tips and pointers that I've learned over the past few years so that you can get busy in the kitchen with your recipes and also the most affordable way to get the oils into your home. Okay, so a background on our oils. Plants are mankind's first medicine. If you go back in every ancient text and culture, you will find evidence of this. We've come a long way with our healthcare, which has also brought its ups and downs. We are seeing such a resurgence of all things natural with our food, with our health, with our lifestyles, and why not, right? We have a millennia of evidence that natural solutions really are effective, safe, and so powerful. What is an essential oil? Most of us are familiar with and have used plant medicine in one form or another. Dried herbs are easy to access and to use. Essential oils also come from plants. They are extracted by cold pressing, in the example of citrus oils, and by steam distillation from the roots, stems, flowers, bark, and other parts of the plants. They're super, super concentrated and supercharged. A little bit goes a long way. And we're going to want to remember this key point when we get down into the cooking tips. 1 drop of peppermint oil is equivalent to the amount of dried herb it takes to make 28 cups of peppermint tea. That's super strong. Oils are friendly to all the natural membranes in our bodies. Not everything can or is supposed to get across the cell membranes, as you can see in this picture. Oils are lipophilic, so they are recognized, they are natural. They are able to easily cross that cell membrane. They're recognized by the body, which is pretty cool. They can help protect and support our bodies against bacterial, viral, and other inflammatory threats. I feel super protected for my own health and also that of my family, just knowing I have a medicine cabinet full of friendly and natural helpers, I guess. So our oils are really unique in the way that they're sourced. This is the doTERRA difference. Our oils come from all over the world. We carefully select plants from their most natural and original habitats. They are the most potent, powerful, and as you will discover if you haven't already, aromatic, rich, and also super tasty because of this. doTERRA uses co-impact sourcing as well as offering humanitarian projects and developments in the countries that we source from. So you can look around that map and kind of see some of that. We work really closely with governments, communities, farmers, and people on every level to ensure fair trade, environmental respect, and long-term success for all involved. This also includes the sustainability of the actual plants themselves. Bottom line, we do it right or we don't do it. I've always been incredibly impressed with the integrity of doTERRA as a company and, of course, the amazing quality of essential oils that we offer. So how do we use these oils? Aromatically, internally, and topically. So aromatically, I think this is the way we first think about oils. Aromatherapy, of course, this is the quickest way into the brain. They smell good, they affect our moods, so we can do this just by breathing them straight out of the bottle. And one of our favorite ways is to use a diffuser. make sure that you're using a quality diffuser and you're not sticking it in your humidifier, but you can passively affect everyone that comes into your house this way. It's pretty awesome. Internally, we're going to get to, and topically is really easy. So, again, we talked about how oils are friendly to all the natural membranes and barriers in our body. And when you put them on topically, they're going to be easily and quickly absorbed. Some favorite places to apply would be the bottoms of your feet. Your pores are a little bit larger there. Up and down the spine is a great place. Behind your ears, on your wrists, over your heart. Make sure to dilute down the oils, especially for children or for sensitive skin. So internally is pretty specific to doTERRA, and sometimes we are referred to as having an internal grade of oils. This is the highest level possible. We also call this certified pure therapeutic grade. We go through so much testing to be able to have this kind of a label on our oils. We're beyond organic. So there's a few ways to take oils internally: in an empty gel capsule, under your tongue, in a glass of water, and you could also kind of chase that with some honey. They are, again, really potent, so in that empty capsule is a nice way for stronger oils. Because we can take them internally and they're safe enough to do that, we've been through enough testing. We know this is the highest quality and there is nothing in there that we don't want to be in there. We know that we can also cook with our oils, and that's why we're all here today. I love this quote from Hippocrates: "Let food be thy medicine." We are what we eat. What we put in our bodies, especially on a regular basis, makes a big difference on many levels. We've heard about superfoods, antioxidants, different cleanses, raw foods, diets. Food is, or at least it can be, our medicine. So changing your diet can change everything. Remember, when God created this world, He did not leave it medicineless. And I love thinking back on those different cultures that used oils as their medicine for thousands of years before we really had any other alternatives. So pay attention to your ingredients. If you don't recognize an ingredient, your body won't either. So if something is hard to pronounce, even in your skincare and your cleaning products, you probably should be avoiding it. Your body absorbs everything you put on it. So if you wouldn't eat it, don't put it on your skin. But we all do the best we can do, and and the best that we know how to do at the time. So just for fun, go pull out a salad dressing or a boxed or frozen meal from your cupboard and take a look at that ingredient list. How many of those ingredients can you pronounce, let alone recognize? Hopefully, most of them, but I know that some of those, it's like, what is that? How about those mysterious artificial or synthetic flavorings? What are we nourishing ourselves and our children and families with? A lot of those things are chemicals and really just empty calories. And obviously, we want to be putting nutritious, satisfying, and helpful foods from Mother Nature into our body if we have that alternative. Flavorings can be such a kind of, I guess, a toxic source of chemicals that we're putting in our body. So another reason why I love to cook with oils, because they're so flavorful and obviously all natural. So let's take a look at our next slide here. Clean, nutritious, delicious, whole, vibrant, alive. I feel a lot different looking at this picture than the previous photo. I want to share with you some of our essential oil cooking tips, as well as answer some commonly asked questions about using essential oils in cooking with our recipes. So remember the quality and purity. We only recommend using high quality, pure, therapeutic grade. Remember that CPTG grade essential oils. For me, I have absolute confidence in the purity and quality of doTERRA's oils. If you aren't sure about the safety, you can check for a label on your essential oils, and it should state whether or not it's safe to use internally. This would be true for doTERRA or anything else. A good indication is if the label lists the supplement facts. This looks just like what you see on your food, the standard nutrition information label. For example, wintergreen and deep blue are some of our oils that you wouldn't ingest just because at high levels those can be toxic, but most of them you can. Some of them you may choose not to just because of the actual flavor. So some we're going to favor more than others, and we're going to go through a list of those in just a moment. Um, if you're still unsure, you can always check out some great reference books, the Modern Essentials book, or also the Essential Life book is a good one too. As always, use common sense with oils. Consider who you're feeding, if it's a young child or maybe a pregnant or nursing woman. Just be careful. Peppermint can reduce breast milk, and some things are really, really warm or really cooling. So just kind of use your common sense with that. And most of the time, we don't have to worry just because when we're using essential oils in our cooking, they're generally diluted enough and used in small enough quantities that we don't have to worry about that. So we're using oils from spices, herbs, citrus fruits, and they're generally safe for everyone to eat. So just an extra caution. Essential oils provide incredible flavor to our food with just one drop. Remember how concentrated one drop of peppermint oil is. It's like the equivalent of that 28 cups of peppermint tea. So depending on the part of the plant that the oil was extracted from and where the plant was grown, they're going to give you different flavors than when you use herbs, the dried herb. Also, some fresh herbs can be hard to get, so this is kind of a nice way to get a variety of flavors when it would be hard to get a fresh or a dried herb. Fresh herbs go bad because we can't use them fast enough. I know I bought packs of basil or different things that I don't even get through it because I only need a little bit for a recipe. So I also have a spice rack in my kitchen that I got when I got married years ago, and I have not made it through all of those. And I know that when I open up some of those dried herbs, they're not going to have that fresh, nice flavor that you can get when you use oils. So the shelf life with essential oils is much longer, which also makes them very cost effective than having fresh or dried herbs that you're storing. A little goes a long way. We talked about that, and we're going to go through some specifics on that too. So also remember, essential oils have a myriad of health benefits that your body can use when you're incorporating them into your food. So let's get into some fun ideas here. Rosemary helps with digestion, focus, fatigue, energy, hair loss. Rosemary is delicious as a marinade on meats and veggies. This is one of my favorites with my roasted veggies that I do. We're getting into fall and winter, and this is awesome mixed in with some olive oil. You can do some salt and pepper in there and just drizzle it all over your veggies and roast your veggies with that. We'll talk a little bit about this later, but you can earn this oil for free this month. I love rosemary. Lime oil. Lime is the zest of life. This is so nummy and sweet just in water, in plain water. Remember when using citrus oils to make sure to not put them in plastics. And actually, when you're cooking with all your oils, make sure you're using like a glass or a metal or ceramic pan and bowls, also stirring utensils. Even your wood spoons can absorb that flavor. So they seep into things that are softer in nature. So just keep that in mind too. A favorite drink for me and my kids is water with a tablespoon or two of chia seeds, a couple drops of stevia, and 2 to 3 drops of lime oil. We let it sit so the chia seeds absorb some of that liquid, and it's delicious. I actually have learned to like this as much as a soda during the day. It's really refreshing. Another favorite is just straight into a smoothie. I love this. I remember one of the first classes I went to, Justin Harrison shared a favorite recipe, and he called it a key lime pie shake. We have our trim shakes. The vanilla flavor, you could also use a protein powder or something with some coconut milk, ice, and some lime oil is really the bomb. It's awesome. Okay, we're going to move on to peppermint oil. Peppermint oil, again, is great in water. This can be really refreshing, just kind of a party drink, a summer drink. Throw in some cucumber and or some honeydew melon in there. I love a couple drops in a batch of brownies, or you could use a chocolate cake recipe or cookies too. Gives it that minty zest. It's pretty strong, so a few drops goes a long way and is enough for that whole batch. This could be great for upcoming holiday parties. Okay, dill is another fun one. This is one that's recently become available all the time. This used to be kind of our seasonal summer oil that was harder to get, but we can get it all the time now, which is awesome. Dill is super nummy in tartar sauce, different kind of mayo dips and spreads, ranch dressing, and even pickles. If you guys have pickled before, consider using dill as that flavor in there. This is one to maybe just do a toothpick or one drop into. It's pretty strong. I've actually overdone like a ranch dip with veggies because it is quite potent. So we're going to talk about those dilution rates again, just getting you guys excited and getting your mouths watering, hopefully. So let's move on to a list of some favorite and fun oils for cooking. Essential oils that come from spices, herbs, or citrus fruits are obviously commonly used in cooking. These are the best ones to incorporate into our food. So here's a few of my favorites, and I'll give you a couple ideas as we move through this list. Maybe not every single one, but basil. One of my favorite soups is tomato basil soup. This is one to exercise caution with for sure. I have ruined more than one pot because I get a little too exuberant. So a toothpick is literally enough to flavor a whole pot of tomato soup. And when I say a toothpick, it means you dip a toothpick into your essential oil bottle and then you swirl that around into your dish. And I promise you it's enough. And it is so delicious, but that's all you need. Bergamot is citrusy and nummy. A lot of those citrus oils can go into some of the same ideas, yogurt dips, smoothies, things like that. Black pepper, cardamom, cassia. Cassia is a little bit stronger than cinnamon. They're very similar, but the dilution rate is going to be a little different, a little less cassia than you would use for cinnamon. Cilantro is super nummy. It's another one of those ones to just use a little bit. This is awesome in fresh salsa. Or you can even just zest up that store-bought salsa with some of that fresh cilantro flavoring in there. Cinnamon is obviously so warm and so nummy, especially as we're getting into some colder weather. Consider using cinnamon in your cinnamon roll recipe. You could also use orange for some orange rolls too. Clove is one of those spices that is so great in wassail. If you have ever made wassail, those flavorings, those spices are pretty expensive. And I've found that using my oils in my wassail recipes the last few years has actually been way less expensive and every bit as flavorful as all those dried spices that you have to buy at the store every year for that. Coriander, dill, we talked about fennel, ginger. I love to mix in some ginger in all my Asian dishes that I cook, and even just a drop or two in maybe a tablespoon or two of soy sauce over your rice gives it such a punch and such a kick. It's super super fresh tasting. I love it. Grapefruit, lavender. Lavender is one you wouldn't typically consider, but lavender frosting, lavender cupcakes. Go easy on this because it's kind of an unusual flavor. It's kind of unexpected, so it is awesome and would maybe be a harder one to cook with usually, but try it out. It's really good. Lemon, obviously, just in our water is really refreshing. You can get way more creative with that. There's all kinds of lemon recipes, frosting smoothies, also chicken recipes, seafood dishes. Lemongrass is amazing in curries. This is one of my favorite oils. Lime, we talked about. Marjoram, orange, oregano. Oregano is one of those to use sparingly. Salad dressings, Italian pasta dishes. Peppermint we talked about, rosemary, spearmint, and thyme. Spearmint's another mint one that you can try in those cookies, and also a basil mint drink I have made before, which is really refreshing. Okay, so let's get into some of these tips that are going to be really necessary as you start to get creative with your recipes. How much oil do you substitute in for dried herbs? So it kind of depends and varies quite a bit depending on the oil. Remember, in general, they're very concentrated, so only a little bit, typically a drop or two. So some of those really strong oils, you may only need to dip a toothpick, as I shared, in a couple of those ideas, and then stir that toothpick into your mixture. Again, that tomato basil soup is the one that just comes to mind, and I've had to throw out whole pots because literally a drop or two of basil was too much. So the number of drops needed in a recipe can also differ based on a number of factors, like when the oils are added in, the kind of food or beverage you're preparing, the strength of the oil, and then also bottom line, maybe just your taste preferences. So consider that if you're cooking for other people, less is more. Less is always more. If you're adding the oils at the end of cooking, um, obviously cooking means heat, right? So heat is going to allow evaporation and you're going to lose some of that flavor. So you don't want to add your oils at the beginning of your cooking process because you are going to lose some of that heat or some of the flavor as that cooks off. So add in the last 5 or 10 minutes as you're cooking down if possible. Otherwise, if it's something you're throwing in the oven and that's not possible, then you may consider adding just a little more oil just because it will cook off, I guess. So the savory oils like basil, marjoram, oregano, rosemary, and thyme are quite strong. These are the strong ones. Also, the dill and cilantro are a little bit strong too. So they actually may benefit from cooking down. So you may want to add them earlier just to get it to cook down. And you'll get an idea for it once you start to do it. These are just our beginning tips, and hopefully you don't have to throw out any pots of soup with that tip alone. So let's talk about some specific amounts. Typically 1 drop of a citrus oil can substitute for 1 teaspoon of a citrus zest. If the recipe calls for the zest of 1 citrus fruit, you can use 8 to 14 drops of the citrus oil instead. So this is quite different than those other oils, those more savory, herbaceous oils, I guess. You can be a lot more heavy-handed with your citrus oils. I typically, in a big smoothie that I make, 3 to 4 drops of lime is totally fine, and that's even for my little kids. So those ones are okay to be a little more heavy-handed with. For minty oils such as peppermint and spearmint and cilantro, try substituting 1 drop for 1 teaspoon of dried mint leaves or 1 tablespoon of fresh mint leaves. Cinnamon and cassia, we talked a little bit about the cassia being stronger, so you may want to start by substituting 1 drop of cinnamon for 1 to 2 tablespoons of ground cinnamon. So think about that in those frostings or even in that wassail. 1 drop of cassia for 1 teaspoon. Let's see, read this one right. Ground cinnamon or cassia. So the cassia you need a little bit less. So for the savory herbaceous oils, we kind of talked about those. This is your toothpick. This is the toothpick technique. Dip it in your oil bottle and swirl it around. Another technique, if you want to just use your spoon to stir that in, I've used this one before. You drop it into your spoon, 1 drop. You can get the corner of a paper towel and absorb a little bit out. You can actually really see how much you're getting that way. I guess that would be the advantage of using on your metal spoon, is to do the drop that way, absorb the excess, and then use that spoon to stir it into your dish. Floral herbs, I mentioned, like lavender can be used, but because they're uncommon, just a hint of that flavor is usually enough. So start with like a toothpick or maybe just 1 drop and do a little taste test. Add more if you need, but a little lighter handed on those. For other flavors, a good rule of thumb is to substitute 1 drop of oil for 1 to 2 tablespoons of a dried herb. So this is your general rule, and 1 drop of oil for 1 to 2 teaspoons of a fresh spice. So those dried herbs, you need a little more of because they've lost that fresh flavor. If you think the oil is strong or the recipe calls for less than the above quantities, start with that toothpick, dip, taste, and add more. So use your taste buds, use your common sense too. Okay, we're gonna go through 10 cooking tips here. If you can see those little numbers, follow along that picture on this diagram. So number 1, know what part of the plant the oil came from. Citrus oils are pressed from the peel, so they can substitute for the zest, but they're not the same as the juice. So I have run across this in some recipes where it calls for several teaspoons of the juice. So it's a little bit different. It still gives you that flavor. It's not going to give you as much of the liquid actually as the juice would give you, so just keep that in mind. Number 2, getting the exact amount of oil drops can be tricky due to the different viscosity levels of the oils. If you're using the regular bottle with the orifice reducer, place your drops on the spoon. So this would be another good idea for that spoon technique, because when you're dripping oils out, sometimes they come out really fast and you don't want to ruin your whole dish just because something, comes out a little quicker than you thought it would. So you can kind of control how much is going into your dish by doing it this way. I think that's a really great idea. Then stir it into your mixture to ensure you have the right amount. It seems really wasteful to absorb that off with a paper towel, but it ends up being nice if necessary. Okay, number 3, putting your cooking oils in dropper bottles allows you to easily control the number of drops used. So that's another option and provides sufficient space to dip a toothpick into the oil when needed. Number 4, a little goes a long way. We've talked about this. They're super concentrated. Start with only a drop of oil, taste, and repeat until you're satisfied. You can always add more, but you can't take it away once it's in there, right? Some oils are really strong. The toothpick dipped in the oil may be sufficient even when you think you might not be able to taste it. You will probably be surprised. Number 5, use glass or stainless steel mixing bowls. Try to avoid plastic cookware, as the oils can damage certain types of plastic, particularly those citrus oils that we talked about. Number 6, always keep your oils away from heat, light, and humid conditions to maintain a long shelf life. This is why they come in those little bottles, and they're dark. This is all to protect those. Keep them away from the heat because they can evaporate. Refrigerator storage is fine. Number 7, make sure to recap your bottles so the oils don't evaporate out. Seems like common sense, but just make sure those are twisted on tight. Number 8, because oils are altered by heat and may evaporate, it's always best to add the oils at the end of your cooking if possible. Number 9, give a subtle hint of herbs to your savory baked goods by creating a spray in a 4-ounce little spray bottle. I've done this before. This is actually awesome. Add a few drops of essential oil and 1/8 cup of olive oil to the spray bottle. Fill it the rest of the way up with distilled water, and you can spray things like empanadas, tortilla chips, baked French fries, egg rolls, etc. So that's a nice way, instead of shaking something on, that you can still disperse that oil, on something where maybe it's dried like that instead of a wet dish. Number 10, if you're baking with kids, make sure to keep the oils out of their reach. They don't know what they are, and I have actually had this with my toddler. He got into the worst oil possible, oregano, and it was hot. It was not fun for just a minute. If that happens, remember you can always dilute down with any vegetable-based oil if your kids do get into it, just to wash them off. Better than water. So, okay. So some fun recipe resources. Hopefully you're really excited and feeling maybe a little more confident and knowing how to use your oils. The doTERRA blog is really awesome and probably my favorite resource for oils. Um, Amazing recipes. You can basically just Google this, get onto the doTERRA blog, and they have tons of recipe resources. The other one, if you are a wholesale member and have your wholesale member account, you should be receiving quarterly your Living magazine. And there's also amazing recipes that they always have posted for us in that Living magazine. You can go back and reference past issues too. So, all right, I want to share with you guys the best way to get the oils into your home if you don't already have them, so you can start using them for your health and also in your kitchen. The best tip is really to talk to whoever introduced you to doTERRA. They're going to be able to support you in the very best way and are going to have the best information and education for you. You can visit our Your Essential Life Facebook page for support. And the next best thing is to get your enrollment kit. If you don't already have a wholesale account, I'm going to tell you really quick how to get one. And beyond that, set up a loyalty rewards order so that you can keep those oils stocked in your kitchen. So the smartest way to purchase is with an enrollment kit, actually, and this includes your wholesale membership fee within it. This is your wholesale account, just like a Costco membership. You're a doTERRA member, or as we like to call ourselves, wellness advocates, and you get 25% off of retail. So who doesn't want this, right? Friends don't let friends buy retail when you can get 25% off. That's such a great deal. Order as much or as little as you want all year long. For an even deeper discount and perk, doTERRA has offered us the Loyalty Rewards Program. We often refer to this as LRP, where you can earn between 10 to 30% back when you set up a monthly order. You get this back in points, and they can be redeemed for free oils and other awesome products. Skincare, cleaning things, it's everything you can think of, really. Think frequent flyer only. This is way, way more generous than what you would get back from Costco or any of your frequent flyer cards or whatever you have. This adds up to a 55% discount, which is pretty awesome and super, super generous. I don't know any other company that gives you that deep of a discount. So the last benefit that I just want to mention really quick is with a qualifying loyalty rewards order, that LRP order, by the 15th of the month, you're eligible for the product of the month, which is a free oil. So I mentioned earlier that rosemary is our oil of the month for November, which you're going to want to have on hand for all those fun holiday recipes coming up. You can get that for free with a qualifying order for this month. So take a look really quick. We have lots of different kits to choose from. Some of them have the diffusers, some of them come with just oils. My personal favorite is that Natural Solutions. We didn't even touch on vitamins. We should have, because we talked all about food being our medicine and what we put in our bodies, but every single one of these kits is a great one to start with. You're gonna get some great oils actually to start cooking with in every single one of these kits as well. So thank you so much, everyone, for joining us. I hope that you feel a little bit more confident in cooking with oils and have some good tips. We didn't go over a lot of specific recipes. I want you to get creative, and mostly just wanted to share how fun it is to cook with your oils and how fresh and delicious your recipes are gonna taste. So get creative, have fun, and share your recipes and tips with us on our Facebook page too. Thank you so much for joining us today.